Alright guys, Spieling here, back with more NieR Automata. This might be it. This might be the final episode. Or this or next episode, but then we're at the end, I believe. I believe we just reached chapter 17. The problem is we still have a lot here though, so I mean this might take a while, maybe 2 episodes or so. But yeah, I would like to finish this today if I can. And to be honest, like if I do finish this today, I don't know when the next time I'm going to be recording is. The next thing we're going to be playing is probably going to be Disco Elysium. But, I don't know when I'm going to be playing that exactly, though, if I'm being honest. But, I don't know. Alright, so we should be able to do these now, right?
What is Schoolhouse Rock when you, like, it's just like, me, cool.
Oh, is it just pushing out?
Okay. We're gonna see after do they have another meeting challenge or was
it is, I'm gonna be recording stuff tomorrow morning. Gonna be streaming tomorrow night. On Thursday. I guess it'll be Thursday, actually. But I don't know, I might actually take time to work on stuff on Thursday. For what?
She was in the final five. You know, the thing about Lamina and stuff from Terry, like they're all like so honest with each other, like even like.
Oh, do I have to fucking hack it after that? Oh, that's kind of annoying.
So, would you like to go to the final five? Ooh, what a great offer! The final five, really?
Final five, and you can be number five.
Yes. How would you like to be number 5 in our 5-person alliance?
And did you know I fit the space?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Like, yeah, nobody in Lamina can lie to each other.
No, and it's Dan who made the pact with Ruth Marie, not anybody else. So, of course, now is the point where they have to cut Ruth Marie. And I love how Dan knows about it as well. It's like, oh, Dan, don't you worry. Like, you can vote somebody else if you want to, but we're all voting out Ruth Marie. Like, in another world, Dan is even informed if he votes incorrectly.
Yeah.
They're all so nice.
And another world is where Dan would ultimately like to visit. That's his end game.
That's so fucking dumb.
To get to another world. But yeah, for Dan, everybody takes a lot of comfort in the fact, like, well, we didn't tell Sally she's in the final 5. Dan did. So we didn't break our word to Sally.
Yeah, because that's the most important part of all of this. No one breaks their word. That's how you play Survivor, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. We have a great reward challenge coming up in one of the funniest titles in Survivor history. For God's sake, here, where bad rainstorm, we're throwing fish around. Lindsay, have a fish toss, and then you have to chop the fish's head off, which Bob Dog is able to do. The master of just like lopping fish heads off.
Yeah, he is a champion at this. Like, Bruce is trying to do it, he kind of sucks, and Terry is doing, like, a pretty good job. But then they switch out, put Bob Dog in, and he's just like, he was made for this. Like, he just does it so fast, and he absolutely destroys Terry at this. It's amazing.
Yeah. So, interesting also, Jess, that the loser of this tribe also gets to get, like, rice or beans.
Yeah, they have to pick one or the other. Yeah, I feel like they really were just taking pity on them at this point, and they're like, they're starving, let's give them something. They lost the whole swing. Or sling, let's give them at least anything. But the beans end up backfiring in a major way.
Yeah, they do.
We've been expecting you.
And poor Kazaya ends up with this great reward of like rice, beans, and wine, and all this fish. They get to eat all the fish, but it's raining so poor, like badly, that they can't even make a fire to cook it.
So
that swamp that you were talking about.
Very swampy. So they have all this raw fish that they got from the challenge, and then they decided they're just gonna start eating it. They say it's sashimi. Is
that how it works?
Yeah. Is any raw fish sushi?
such a great way where, like, no one, like, says, oh, Sari told me this. It just all comes pouring out, and there's a huge argument as a result. And we just see Sari just behind the scenes, just sitting there, happy as a clam, like, all this just...
Alright, guys, we have here back with more.
Is happening.
Somehow, in this immunity challenge, we get to a Lamina win.
What's that? Yeah, we knew this.
Yeah, truly shocking given that Nick and Austin have literally been up all night just like dying and just like but somehow strong enough to win this challenge. It's wild.
Yeah, I think there's a raw fish hangover for Zion. And so there's some talk about who needs to go. And this is a wild turn of events where Shane says Bobby needs to go. There's no discussion because there is a bond between the younger guys, apparently, Jess, and that it needs to be Bobby. And ours say, no, not Bobby, Bruce. Bruce needs to go. And Shane is adamant that the 4 young guys are going to get back together after the merge. And so they are on board with Bobby, but then Shane is talked out of it.
Right, it's this whole mess, and I think it's basically like Bob swears on Shane's kid, he's not gonna flop at the merge, which, like, I don't know why Shane believes this, because why do I care about swearing on somebody else's child? Like, but he does, he believes it, and then basically it's Danielle, Courtney, and Sari who decide that they want to vote out Bob Dog, because they don't want Aris to be the one who has the control. And it seems like, in my opinion, it's coming from Danielle, because Danielle and Bruce seem to have some type of connection that isn't shown a ton, but we hear about it.
They love each other.
They do. She sees him as like a fatherly figure, I suppose.
Wait, is this anything new?
And now Shane is pissed because Shane made a deal with Bob Dog, and now he's gonna have to go back on that because all the women decided that they want to vote out Bob instead of Bruce.
Yeah. And it's so great, Lindsay, when they come back and tell Shane about actually the plan is going to be to vote out Bob Dog.
Yeah, and he's like, oh my god, why didn't you tell me this an hour ago, Courtney? And then she goes, don't yell at me. And he goes, I'm just yelling in general. Like, even though he clearly...
I want to use that as an excuse next time I yell at for any reason. I'm just yelling in general. I'm not yelling at you.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think, like, they do make the right call here in that Bobby says, I'm going to flip at the merge. Whoever's left over there, I'm flipping.
Yeah. I mean, when we get to the merge, which is only going to be after one more vote, I mean, Nick is going to be there. Austin is going to be there. I think if it's Bobby there instead of Bruce, does he at least flip to get it to 5-5 at the first vote? Do we think that that's a likely scenario, or does he stick with the Kasaya group that he's been with the whole time?
Well, I feel like that's the moment for Terry to use the idol to swing them over and say, like, I have this, you need to switch over here. And
but we saw him try that.
But
we saw Terry attempt to this, and it wasn't very successful, I think mainly because he's not very good at being a salesman.
No, that's not his vocation. But I will say that I thought that Terry was not talking about that at the final 10, and that comes up later in the game. So I don't know, like, is there enough there? Like, I don't know how close Bob Dog got with Nick and Austin in the first couple of days of the game. I can't imagine the scenario where Aris is also going to flip and go with the younger guys at the merge. So it just comes down to how tight did Bob Dog get with Nick and Austin pre-swap, and then is he, like, locked in enough to potentially go to Rocks with those guys and to stick at the Kasai?
It's tough, right? Because, first of all, we don't really see a ton of Bob Dog, like, in general. We don't really understand who he has relationships with on Kasaya. We know he doesn't get along with Courtney very well. We see him have like a moment with Bruce.
Yeah.
I mean, my guess is, I don't know. I get the feeling that if Bob had stuck around and Bruce leaves, I feel like Cerie is able to rein in Bob Dog a little bit. Like, you have to give Cerie some credit in that she's also holding the Kasaya glue together. She's not going to let Bobby just flip over there willy-nilly. She's going to have some type of control over him.
Yeah.
I don't know what their relationship was like, but I imagine that she would have at least attempted to keep him on board, and she'd be aware if he was about to flip.
Yeah, I think Aris looks at Bob as somebody who is like he has a relationship with. He's somebody who could potentially be like a pawn for him down the road, but I don't see any scenario where Aris and Bob Dog are flipping away from Kasaya to go vote with Nick and Austin.
Query.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably true. I wonder if Terry's sales pitch is more compelling when you have someone who's actually motivated to flip, where he's having to like find some sort of way in with these people that he doesn't successfully flip.
So essentially, this is the tower from
Like, I'm open to it. Let's have a conversation like
from
maybe
Replicant,
maybe he's
right?
better at that. I
Yeah.
don't know.
It's possible. Like a move more just to hurt Aris more than it was an
Okay, so
anti-Bob
maybe.
Dog move. And I'll say maybe it was the wrong decision because I feel like that Bruce comes like I feel pretty close to flipping, and if anybody is like vulnerable to sort of like the flattery that might be able to get them to flip, I think it's probably Bruce before it's Bob Dog.
Yeah, that's fair. And then Bruce
I don't
also
agree with that. I
ultimately
think
gets
Bob
taken
Dog
out
was ready to
by a
flip.
medevac as well. So it's an interesting, fictional world we're living in, alternate universe where Bob Dog is there instead of Bruce. Who knows what happened? I wish we had gotten more Bob Dog, to be honest, on screen. I just feel like we didn't really get to know him as a character. And yeah, Kasaya is wild enough, but I feel like in the first scene, he's talking about we got the Golden Girls over here, we got the Spice Girls. I feel like he was like really good in confessionals.
He's a funny guy. Yeah.
Why did we not get more of him? It's disappointing.
Yeah.
2B miles.
All right. So after Bob Dog goes home, one more vote before we get to the merge. Okay. So we are seeing there's a lot of stakes. It's immunity and reward all in one challenge here today. And this time, the winners of the challenge are going to send someone to exile and give them immunity. This is where ultimately Sally is going to go to the
Every last one of you!
Exile Island here in this episode, which Sally was talking about, Lindsay, that she was going to be the next person out, and she ultimately gets saved here by the twist.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if they just saw a pattern, if Kasaya saw the pattern as they were voting out all of the women over on Lamina, and just knew that this was a good better if they saw something out. I'm not really sure how they necessarily knew that they should send Sally, but this totally throws a wrench in the plans for these guys, because they were planning to be the final four.
Yeah, well, Misty went out and then Ruth Marie, so I think it was kind of
Pattern there.
see what's going on with that group.
Doesn't take a missile engineer.
Yeah. But I thought that this was so fun, the reward challenge they go to, because you really spend a lot of time here on the reward in the Panamanian village, and of course Kasaya has so many colorful characters. It was very interesting to watch them go enjoy this reward.
Yeah, everybody's having fun. We see Shane smoking a cigarette. He basically offered like all of his clothes and more if the guy was going to give him a cigarette. And then we see almost, and it brings everybody back together, which Cerie absolutely hates, because earlier that day, or I should say the night before, there was a major blow up because Shane is pissed about voting out Bob Dog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's mad at Danielle. Everybody's trying to sleep in the shelter. Danielle and Aris and I believe Courtney are like huddled up, and then Bruce is on the opposite end and Shane is kind of by himself. Bruce is just berating Danielle. This was a terrible decision. We should have voted out Bruce. He's falling apart. Bruce can absolutely hear him.
Yeah, it is. I think it's Danielle that's like, Bruce is right there, and Shane's like, yeah, I know he's right there. I need to just say, I think it was a mistake not to vote out Bruce.
Yeah, Danielle's just like, can we argue about this tomorrow? And Shane basically is like, I want to alliance, but I can't unless you say I can because I promised on my son's name. So he basically wants permission to be out of the alliance.
Yeah. There's also a great moment where in the morning that Courtney was sleeping on the beach and Suri is like giving the recap of all of that to Courtney the next morning.
Yeah, I love the line. Yes, Courtney has the line of chop his head guillotine style. And I think Danielle is like, vote him out. Like, everybody is all on board with Shane being out of the alliance and Shane being the next to go, which Suri just loves. She is all about this. She knows she's not going to be next. But then, of course, we have the reward. Shane apologizes to Danielle. It's all kumbaya again. And Suri's like, no, like, be mean to each other again.
Yeah, and I think that Suri is able to clock that, you know, Shane is not somebody who is impressionable. Like, she could put, like, a little bit of poison in this person's ear and sort of, like, get Danielle worked up about something, get Courtney worked up about something, and basically, you know, get Aris feeling some type of way about people. But Shane is not going to be super impressionable. You know, Shane is like very much like set in his ways and opinions, and there's not a lot that she can ever do to sort of sway how he might be feeling about anything or how he might change his opinion in some sort of like a haphazard
We might replay the game, the end of the game.
Yeah, like
the final chapter or whatever,
Danielle, like, oh, when we leave here and my life's normal, I don't know anybody anything except for you, and Danielle's like actually pretty gracious in accepting this. And one of the things that I noted in this episode is that, like, I think it's very wise of Danielle to say to Shane, let's not do this right now, let's do it in the morning, because Shane's moods go up and down so fast that it's like, let's just not do anything rash. Let's just think about this a little bit. And I think she comes across as like fairly gracious and mature, I think, in dealing with being here.
All right. Well, meanwhile, that at Lamina. So it was Dan and Sally who needed to do the puzzle. How the hell did we not get the puzzle done with a NASA engineer of all people, Jess?
And this is the worst part is that Dan's like, I take full responsibility. Yes. Sally's not here. It was my fault. I should have been able to do it. This wouldn't have happened at NASA. If someone failed at NASA, that was it. They're done. So, but I love the Dan thinks it's going to be a 2v2. He'd love for it to be a 2v2 with him and Terry and Austin and Nick.
The corpse is likely a result of Yorha Unit 9 S's advance through the area.
He's really ready to fall on his sword about the whole thing. Lindsay, he talks about how, like, if this happened in space, we'd be dead!
Die. Yeah. And there's incredibly heroic music over this.
What's the purpose of this structure?
If I did this in space, I would be dead.
Proposal.
I
Gather
cannot.
additional data.
I'm serious.
Someday I need to teach you how to
And
be
then just playing
helpful.
incredible music of like Dan, so brave.
I love him. How do you not love Dan Fuego? And this is also the episode where he tells Nick and Austin that he is an astronaut.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah. Wow.
Dan Fuego's a stud.
Here's a library, which is like NieR.
I wonder
This is
if
cool.
I ever play Survivor again, I'm going to go back and then reveal.
Just pause this real quick. Let's pay attention.
What's up with this place?
Hypothesis. It is a representation of a library.
What's that?
A library is a data storage facility constructed by past human civilizations.
Oh, wait, this is the music from NieR. From the original NieR, isn't it?
I suppose we have to hack in to look at the data, yeah? Help me out, Pod.
Affirmative. Hacking interface access rights granted to Yorha Unit A2.
Peachy.
Let's do a might as well quick save again. At this point, it's not really even. Doesn't really end up doing that much. So this is obviously where Hopeful and them are. Oh, the room's smaller. Oh shit. Okay. Well.
well, then I'm a podcaster and talk about how, like, if I fail in a challenge, like, no, if this happened on a podcast, do you know how many people would unsubscribe? We get a 1-star review, Jeff.
I run a podcast.
Yeah, I told you I was on podcasts.
Do you know how much editing we'd have to do on the back end?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, 2v2, not so much. Because Terry feels like, well, you know, gotta go with Nick and Austin. Gotta make a managerial decision here.
You blew it, Dan.
Yeah.
Poor Dan Fuego.
Terry makes a lot of baseball references.
Yeah, it's always the Game 7, always.
Game 7, manager, yeah, talking a lot of baseball. Jeff, I think, like, touches the nerve for Dan in Tribal Councils. Sort of implies that, oh, Dan, so you're quitting? He's like, no.
Ah, shit.
How dare you?
Not
that.
the case.
I am an American hero.
Excuse me, Jeff, did you know that I was an astronaut?
I think it really speaks to how boring Lamina is that, like, when they're leading into this episode, they're like, and a tribal council like no other. And really, it's just that they stand up and applaud for him.
Stand up
really
and applaud for Dan Fuego.
Some goddamn respect for Dan Fuego.
Salute you. Dan Fuego. Dan Barry, there he is. So, thank you, Dan, for being a big part of Survivor Panama. All right, that's the pre-merge of our season. So we still have a lot to go and a lot more fun to talk about here on our Survivor Panama recap of the 15th best season of all time. We are going to take a quick break. And in about 3 minutes, we're going to come back and talk about everything that happened in the post-merge of the game. So stick around because we will be right back.
This data.
This is Survivor's podcast. Honey, wrong RJP, that's better.
That Bruce loves this garden.
A little rough. Some beautiful souls over on Kasaya. And so we're gonna see Lamina. They're gonna head on over. Austin says, "Let's get it on." And it's so funny, Lindsay, because we're gonna see Kasaya is like eating like a bounty of rice, and it's like, "Oh, they're coming! Quick, everybody, eat your rice! Don't give them any."
Yeah, they just inhale it. And even Aris is like, oh, that was probably like not a very kind thing to do, but they don't want to share. And then Lamina shows up and they've got like an entire merge feast with them, and they're like, ah, crap, why'd we fill up on this stupid rice?
Yeah, I'm sure they all continued and ate like a huge portion at the merge feast. I'm sure it was fine.
No doubt.
Yeah. If anything, it probably like was something that you should do before you go on a merge feast or like a feast on Survivors, like fill up on rice, so you don't have the wet snail taco overload happen. You know, nobody's ever on Survivor. Maybe other than Bruce. Like, oh my god, I ate too much rice.
Yeah, taking off too many beans just a few episodes ago. But
Yeah. So somehow we're only at 6-4 in terms of the numbers. Does this make any sense?
Like how Kasaya doesn't have
I
a
feel
large
like Kasaya wins so much that I feel like they should be going into the merge like I don't know, like 7-2. Or 7-3 even.
Yeah, I suppose. I think also
Just
like
because they got and they got Bruce.
And they got Bruce too. Yeah, I guess you'd think there'd be a bigger upset, but Terry says he just needs 2 people. That's all it's gonna take. He needs to swing 2 people. And of course, I feel like rightfully a little bit of credit to Terry here with his strategy. He tries to go to Bruce first to pull him in. Makes the most sense. Bruce was on an older man tribe with Terry. It does make sense to go to him first, and he is the most likely to flip here.
Yeah, and again, we talked about the great job that Shane and Artis do with keeping Bruce on board. But Lindsay, you know, I feel like that Terry with his sales pitch to Bruce about how, hey, you could be in the final 5. Think about it. final 5, Bruce.
You should clearly jump over. Like, you're only gonna go to final 6.
Yeah, I don't
These
know what
guys, I
role
will
these
give you
girls
one
play.
spot better.
Well, I don't think that Bruce thinks he's 6th in Kasaya. Like, I think he thinks
Like, I
that he's
remember
probably,
them
like, in the
like
top
showing up,
3
but
on
she made a
Kasaya.
big deal.
Yeah, like, I don't get why he thinks, like, again, same as with Ruth Marie, like, you can be 5th in our group of 5. Like, what are you doing? Tell him you'll take him to the end.
For some reason.
So, I just think that Bruce does not have, like, a clear read of where he is. Like, he is snowed enough on Kasaya that this is not going to work. But probably the worst part of this is Terry's play to Suri. Terry did not do a great sales pitch to Suri. She said that Terry's like a dictionary salesman when she already has an encyclopedia.
I don't know that this is a very apt metaphor.
No.
I mean, if you have a dictionary, well, an encyclopedia is a completely different thing. So I can see why you would need one. But yeah, Terry says, let me take the burden of tribal council off your shoulders for 2 weeks. What kind of pitch is this? Like, this is horrible.
You don't have to think about anything.
You don't have to think about the game, Suri. I mean, but what else is there to think about, Terry? Like, they have nothing going on. They might as well think about the game. Like, it's a horrible pitch. I can see why he thinks Suri would be, like, on the outs of that tribe. She's the older woman. She's the last older woman standing. I can see why he would target her, but the pitch itself is atrocious. It's not good.
Yeah, Lindsay, have we had a more dated reference on Survivor than that Terry is like a dictionary salesman and I have a set of encyclopedias?
I have a phone. I can just look up all these things. Yeah, great point. You don't need either of these things anymore.
Yeah, probably not.
Jordan dictionary salesman.
Yeah, and while Suri is reading Terry more in her confessional, Shane just flat out tells him no.
Yeah, Shane's really good, where he's just like, it's not gonna be me, it's not gonna be her, it's just up. Like, it's not gonna work for you.
Please. Yeah. No, not it.
I think the better move was Nick and Austin trying to pull Aris. Like, that seems like it might make sense to try to do. I mean, it does seem like eventually they end up targeting almost everybody. Nobody seems to care about Courtney, at least at this moment. They mostly are targeting the outliers, which, again, you'd think would be the best strategy, but these guys are locked tight. They are not moving. For people who don't get along very well, they're very rock solid as an alliance.
Yeah, rock hard and solid. Yeah.
Jess, I thought you were going to say the best move is when Nick tries to get Bruce out of the game by stabbing him in the face.
Oh, yeah. Did that happen in this episode or the next one?
Yeah. Hits him in the face with a machete. Like, the worst. Did no one teach these people, Rob? I know you mentioned that didn't they teach you how to use machetes when you went to the Amazon? Like, you each had your own.
Yeah, we each had our own Amazon. And I wouldn't say they necessarily taught us how to use a machete, but they showed us, like, some wilderness in the sky. But ideally, you're not, like, swinging, like, a machete, like,
You're not, like, my dad always used to, so we went camping a lot when I was a kid, and I would like to, like, I took, like, pocket knives, and I would just, like, I don't know, whittle pieces of wood into smaller pieces of wood, I don't know.
Wow.
And,
So some graphic, Jeff.
and he was like, always told me you face the knife away from you when you're cutting. Just suppose Nick was doing
no problem there.
Aimed it at Bruce's face.
Yeah. Alex in my season hit himself in the face with a machete. So. But the fact that he broke Bruce's tooth.
You still wish to fight.
And at the time, Bruce is sitting there like, oh, I'm not gonna leave the game. I get all these crazy injuries. I'm not gonna leave. Yeah. Don't touch fate here, Bruce.
We are conceptually
messed up bowels.
There was an incredible moment that I remember from TEOS where he said it's like Final Destination, where Bruce didn't get wanted out of here, so the game was trying to get him out however it could.
Your attack.
Okay. So, we go to our immunity challenge. Hank.
Keep them coming. I'll destroy them all.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up right now how much more we have. fuck. In fact, this might be the final actually. Come on, go from here. Fuck. And then again, I'm still gonna want to try to go for like playthrough. I still want to get like ending D. Yeah, there's no way I'm getting through that one. Fuck, I'm out. Ah. Alright, fine. Alright, so I think what we'll do is we'll probably end after this fight. Yeah, I don't think we can finish the game this episode anyway. Can't save. Well, it's kind of shit, isn't it? Alright guys, I think we're gonna end here. I think we're gonna do one more and try to finish the main game. And then also see if we can do the... I don't know if I'm gonna do... How do you do E? Okay. So it's pretty easy to do. Okay. We'll end here. Next episode came on for now. Thank you for watching.